All right.
Are
All
we
right.
live?
All right. Go ahead. Go ahead and set it off. I think we got it for real this time.
We got it for real this time. Oh man. Oh, first of all, thank you for your patience, everybody. Welcome to another Nick and Roo book review. We are here this Saturday. Yeah, we start most of our shows laughing because of the things that are going on when before we get started, the technical challenges and things that we having to go through. But this is why we stick to books, because books don't change up on you. I thank you for joining us another week. The book review is brought to you by Mawulisatemple, brought to you from the beautiful upstate New York, Hudson Valley, soon to be in the new location, God willing. And we are excited to bring some books to you today, two new books. If you were with us the last time, we had our very first interview with brother who did a HVAC book, which was amazing. The interview was amazing. And he even sprung a question on us at the end, which had us both like, huh, we couldn't just answer simple. So it was nice and fun, and I'm telling you, if you are not subscribed, liking, sharing, saving, getting notifications, you are missing out. We have some great things coming up this summer. You do not want to miss. Spring and summer is going to be popping. But also, we mentioned our winner for my Divine Day book giveaway, our very first book giveaway. It was awesome. We had Beaumont, Texas in the building, and they took that. You know how? They liked, they subscribed, they shared. And so you want your opportunity for a free book. Hey, listen. But anyway, this week we are bringing books to you that we both already knew. So Nick had the titles up. For those of you who might have take a little sneak peek and looked ahead, maybe you have some questions, you could pop those down in the chat. We are always glad to answer questions about the books, even after. We are glad to answer any questions. We are open to constructive criticisms, reviews, books that you'd like to see, or just something you like to share about your favorite unread book or a book you've read already. So, with that being said, we have two great books. I know I'm pretty excited about my book, especially because we are in Pisces season right now. And Pisces deals with deep transformations, and getting rid of old patterns and starting anew. And so I'm really excited about that book to bring today. And Nick is bringing his level of spice to the table. And we are going to listen to Nick explain to us why this book is unread, but how it got on his shelf. So I am excited to start this show. Thank you again for tuning in with us. I am Roo, and that is Nick. I am going to pass it over to you, Nick.
All right, all right. Thank you for that beautiful intro. And yes, indeed, it was interesting trying to get this thing going. The technology was doing what it do. Giving me surprises, unexpected surprises. So, but I think we got it together. I opened up the YouTube and in both the control room and in another tab to make sure it was doing what it's supposed to do. So it is doing what it's supposed to do. So all right, we're on track now. We
Thumbs up.
good money. Yeah, yeah. We're good money. So Rue was talking about the Pisces side. With her book. Now I'm the numerology student, and the book I selected, I mean, I didn't even have this in mind when I selected my book, but on the numerological side, we know that 2024 is an 8 universal year, which would make this month of March, we take, of course, we got 8 from adding up 2024, 2 plus 2 plus 4 equals 8. And then we add that to March, which is the third month, which adds up to an 11, universal month, or 2 universal month if you reduce the 11 down to a 2. 11 is a master number, so you usually don't reduce the master numbers. But sometimes, just like how we're human beings, we don't always operate in the higher vibrations. So sometimes we have to come down to the lower vibration, which is the reduce. And lower not necessarily meaning that's a negative thing, a negative connotation. Is just not at its maximum. But when we think about both the master number 11 and the number 2, we know the master number 11 deals with, the highest level of human compassion and understanding. And when you reduce it down to a 2, we're talking about balance there, the duality. So we're talking about teamwork. We're talking about unity. We're talking about companionship. So my offering for this episode 7 of UnRead, my book deals with, teamwork, working together, and companionship, teamwork. So since you tossed it over to me, am I going first? Is that what we're doing, or am I just opening up?
Listen, I could listen to you talk for hours about books. Oh, wait a minute, I have. That's why we started this show. But yeah, listen, I am open. You got me. Look, you got me all in. I'm like, wait a minute, you doing the math over there? Like, what's today's mathematics? So I'm over here like loving it. So sure, go first. Yes, offer us, Mr. West Brooks.
All right. So in the spirit of, this number 2 energy, or master number 11 energy, I have brought with me a book called Never Eat Alone. Never eat alone. Never. So you're going to eat with somebody. and the subtitle says, "And Other Secrets to Success, One Relationship at a Time." This is the expanded and updated version, meaning that my understanding from looking at the description of the book, which I'll read in just a moment, the original version of this book dealt with success and building relationships, in person, but this expanded and updated version has adapted those skills to building relationships virtually as well, since a lot of what we do is through the internet, through social media, through platforms such as, YouTube and Zoom, exactly what we're using right now. Shout out to Joseph in the comments. You were just mentioning him for our last episode. We was talking about the HVAC book. He said they're locked in. That 11 is definitely him and his wife's number. So shout outs to them in the chat. And I mean, it's all connected, because this book is definitely a reflection of, the work that Roo and I are doing, the work with, bringing Joseph onto the show. That's what this book is all about. So the author of this book is Ferrazzi, and we have Tahl. I think this is Tahl Raz. This is the person that helped him, articulate and get his ideas onto the paper and into this book here. So the backstory to this book is this book came as a recommendation from a gentleman in our business network. So we had just had a Zoom call. I think this was back in either 2020 or 2021. We just had a Zoom call about an investment project that we were doing some fundraising for. We were trying to build up some funding for a project that we were going to, collectively pool our resources together to invest. And at the conclusion of the meeting, You know, after all the business was taken care of, we were just chopping it up, you know, building. And he recommended a couple of books for us to read, and one of them was this book. So I ordered the book online. I got it. I read it. I took copious notes and annotations. You look at it. I got all of these. I know the light is a little bright there, but I got a lot of Post-its in here. Yeah, got a lot of Post-its and notes in here. And I would say about this book is that I wish I had this book when I was younger, when I was in high school and college. I wish I had this book, and I'll tell you why in a moment. But let me go ahead and read the description and tell you what this book is about. So it says, the best-selling business classic on the power of relationships, updated with in-depth advice for making connections in the digital world. Do you want to get ahead in life, climb the ladder to personal success? The secret master networker Keith Ferrazzi claims is in reaching out to other people. As Ferrazzi discovered in early life, what distinguishes highly successful people from everyone else is the way they use the power of relationships so that everyone wins. And Never Eat Alone, expanded and updated, Ferrazzi lays out the specific steps and the inner mindset he uses to reach out to connect with the thousands of colleagues, friends, and associates on his contacts list, people he has helped and who have helped him. And in the time since Never Eat Alone was first published, the rise of social media and new collaborative management styles have only made Ferrazzi's advice more essential for anyone hoping to get ahead in business. The son of a small-town steelworker and a cleaning lady, Ferrazzi first used his remarkable ability to connect with others to pave the way to Yale, a Harvard MBA, and several top executive posts. Not yet out of his 30s, he developed a network of relationships that stretched from Washington's corridors of power to Hollywood's A-list, leading to him being named one of Crane's 40 under 40 and to be selected as a global leader for tomorrow by the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Ferrazzi's form of connecting to the world around him is based on generosity, including helping friends connect with other friends. Ferrazzi distinguishes genuine relationship building from the crude, desperate, glad-handing usually associated with network. He then distills his system of reaching out to people into practical, proven principles. These include don't keep score. It's never simply about getting what you want. It's about getting what you want and making sure that the people who are important to you get what they want too. Ping constantly. It's important to reach out to those in your circle of contacts all the time, not just when you need something. Never eat alone. The dynamics of status are the same whether you're working at a corporation or attending a social event. Invisibility, quote unquote, is a fate worse than failure. And become the quote unquote king of content. Learn how to use social media sites like LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook to make meaningful connections, spark engagement, and curate a network of people who can help you with your interests and goals. Over the course of this book, Ferrazzi outlines the timeless strategies shared by the world's most connected individuals, from Winston Churchill to Bill Clinton, Brain Brown to the Dalai Lama, chock full of specific advice on handling rejection, getting past gatekeepers, becoming a conference commando, quote unquote, and more. This new edition of Never Eat Alone will remain a classic alongside How to Win Friends and Influence People for years to come. And so that's the description of the book, and a little bit more information about the author. He's the founder and CEO of the training and consulting company Ferrazzi Greenlight, and a contributor to Inc., the Wall Street Journal, and Harvard Business Review. Earlier in his career, he was the CMO of Deloitte Consulting and of Starwood Hotels and Resorts, and the CEO of Yaya Media. He lives in Los Angeles. All right. And then, like I said, the co-writer here, Tahl, helps people tell great stories. So that's the description of Never Eat Alone. And like I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, I said I wish I had this book, when I was in school. And the reason I say that is because I've met a lot of people. I've had the opportunity to be in certain rooms where I've met individuals of influence and in positions of power, people who were in positions that I wanted to be in, and they made themselves accessible to me. I attended these events, these career fairs. They handed me business cards. They told me, here's my card. Reach out to me whenever if you have questions. Some of them I reached out once or twice, and then after that, didn't reach out anymore. Not because I was forgetful or didn't want to, but I didn't know how to build relationships. I mean, back in that time, we called it networking. I mean, they still call it networking, but this book makes the point to kind of make a distinction between networking and relationship building. But I didn't know how to network or build, relationships. Like I said, they would say, if you have any questions, reach out to me, or if you need anything, reach out to me. And I'm like, I don't know what questions to ask these people. So I ended up not reaching out to folks, and that's in the professional realm. When I was in college and I was majoring in broadcast journalism and working to get my foot in the door into the broadcast news industry, and it also applied in non-professional settings, with community work and grassroots projects and things like that. There were definitely opportunities where I could have did some pretty amazing work with some individuals and some groups, if I had the knowledge and the skills to know how to reach out to folks and build meaningful relationships. But I didn't have it then, but I have it now, and I can definitely use the information and the skills that are in this book to build relationships and help someone reach their goals and their dreams and reach mine as well. So Never Eat Alone. There's one quote in here that I'll kind of paraphrase unless I can find it really quickly, but it's the author's own definition of success, which is like a formula which consists of the relationships that you build with others, plus the work that you do with one another, and that equals success. So that's one of my favorite quotes out of this book. When you think about it, this is a version of what Roo and I have done here with UnRead. We connected virtually on Bookstagram, on Instagram, and we built the relationship over time, and now we got we got the show going on. We created something together, and we're already seeing the early success with it. And it's only going to go up from here. But like I said, I took very copious notes in this book. There's a lot of jewels in here, a lot of gems in here, and I could I could go on for hours going through every single one of them, but I'll kind of boil it down to a couple of key items of lessons that I picked up just from memory and just from briefly flipping through the book as I was preparing for today's show. And this is definitely a book that I need to reread because it has been a couple of years. I need to refresh my memory and actually start being a little bit more consistent with applying, some of these concepts. But one of the things that I love about this book, like I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, is the distinction between networking and building relationships. Because when you think about networking in the negative sense of it, networking kind of gives this idea that the purpose of networking is to see what you can get out of a person. Like you see someone that's either further ahead than you, or someone who's maybe at your level, and you're thinking about how can this person help you, or how can you help this person, and that becomes kind of like a transactional type of relationship. But when you're actually relationship building, yes, one of the byproducts is, you might help someone reach their goals, or that person might help you reach your goals professionally, but you're also building a meaningful personal relationship with that person as well, when you're taking a genuine interest into their interests and the things they're into and the things they like to do, and taking a genuine interest into how they're doing as a person and how their family is doing, and things of that nature. So I love that he makes that distinction here between networking, which gives the impression that it's mainly transactional, and actually genuinely building, relationships with people. So that's one of the keys that I really appreciated about this book. Another thing that I really appreciated was the practical steps and strategies that he provides in teaching you how to build relationships. Especially if you're very busy. He shows you how to balance that out. Like, for example, you can invite someone to participate in either an activity or a task that you have to do, and that's a moment for you to make contact and bond with that person, while you're out doing the task or some type of work. He also gives tips on how to initiate connections with people that you don't know yet. Say to someone that you do want to meet, and where they're going to be, they're going to be in a specific location. He gives you tips and steps on how to make that connection, including doing your research on that person before you speak to that person, so you know what you're talking about, and so you can actually make a strong first impression on that person, because that person is going to be impressed to see that you did your homework on them. So that's another significant and valuable lesson in there. The importance of following up, once you make the connections, and how to go about that. Something that I flipped to at the beginning of the book, from a financial perspective, we talk about financial resources, but your relationships also play a factor in your finances too, because we, especially for a lot of us who grind out or do a lot of work on the individual level, we forget about how building relationships can help us reach our goals, economically and financially as well. And this says that poverty, this is the author speaking. He said, poverty, I realized, wasn't only a lack of financial resources. It was isolation from the kind of people who could help you make more of yourself. So when you're working, you have more potential working with others and working with others who can help you become the best version of yourself than doing it alone. Yes, hence the title, Never Eat Alone. That's why you should not eat alone, because you could get farther together than you can by yourself. So that was another gem in there that really stood out to me. Like I said, there's just so many so many good lessons in here about building relationships. They talk about the importance of having good health, because when you take care of yourself and you have good health, that enhances your ability to make connections and build relationships and the quality of those relationships. So you see a little bit of the holistic aspects coming in through there. Let's take a look. Let me see. The importance, oh, here's another one, the importance of vulnerability. So, a lot of times when we're attempting to build relationships, especially with someone that we admire or someone that's further ahead than us, we tend to only want to show the positive sides of who we are and what we got going on. But he emphasizes that it's okay to broadcast your shortcomings, because they reveal your humanity. That's the reason why it's important to broadcast your shortcomings. So that was another key lesson in there. So I think think I'll stop there. That was a pretty thorough review on my end of Never Eat Alone. So I'll go ahead and stop there. And go ahead, Roo. You got any comments on that or questions?
Yes, yes, yes. Oh man, I'm over here like in the zone. When we come to these book reviews, even though we may share the title with each other, it's not something that we necessarily read, and that's the whole point. And I was so geeked up about this because I was like, never eat alone, as a humanitarian, I'm all about the let's get it together kind of thing. So I was already really excited about you bringing this title. So I'm even more excited because it is definitely going to be on my list of books to not only read, but to share, because you making that statement about getting it at an earlier age, how it could have really helped to enhance your relationships and deepen your relationships is very key. And the fact that the review actually put it right up there with how to win friends and influence people, that was something that I was given in high school. You know what I mean? That was a book that was part of our business class, was that particular book. And I think that especially now in the time of the social media, and I love that he updated and revised that to be able to include that, is really important, not just for young people and their safety and protection, but for older people like myself who used to go to networking events. I used to host so many networking events. I used to have pockets full of cards. Then you go home and you organize the cards and all of these things, but a lot of those relationships never flourished because you didn't really know how to take it to the next level, the next step, because each one of these people, they offer a different thing. So learning what it is to use the resource and not the person. That, you know what I mean? I really, really resonate with that, because I love service and I love doing things for people, and I'm solution based. So if you bring something to me, you know, my whole idea is I'm sitting down and we're not coming out till we got a solution. We're not coming out, you know, lamenting about the problem in 9 different ways. And so the fact that he, you know, took time to talk about how to foster these relationships and get the most out of them, where you don't feel like you're using the person, you don't feel like you're being used, you are actually getting the resource the person wants to give. You know, that's because this is their passion too. That's why they do it. You know what I mean? I do service because I love doing service, but at the end of the day, I'm not the help. You understand what I'm saying? So you don't, and you know, and a lot of relationships left us feeling like that back in the day, in the time of that multi-level marketing schemes, pyramid scheme period, where, you know, you have this person that is like, you know, like supposed to be, they just want to be your friend, and you don't, now they say bring 5 people in, you don't never hear from them again. You know what I'm saying? Because now they got 5 more people they could, you know, use and not really show, you know, what was going on. But that's just that part of it. I love the fact that the other part of the internet part is a lot of the relationships online, and this has just been my experience, can be very superficial. And you know, Nick, that like you said, we met online, but we bonded over, we were from the same place, both from Jersey, you know, both had been exposed to the North school system. You know, so we bonded over books. You know, we go to our favorite bookstores and all these things. The fact that we never bumped into each other in person is hilarious, because we were at some of the same book signings and things. That's what make it funny. But anyway, you know, we connected, but we came in fostering a relationship based on something where we both benefited from what we brought to the table. You were bringing books and ideas that I had never really thought about, and I was bringing books and ideas that you never really thought about. And over these several years that we've been companions, you know, we are at a place now where we've done it in the past. Even we've done workshops and Clubhouse and all kind of things together. And we got to this point now where we're doing our videos, you know, and you know, we are talking about having our first live in-person session in the fall. See, y'all better subscribe so you know what's going on. But our first live session in the fall. And this is something we created based upon just fostering and feeding and nourishing that relationship that we, you know, that we have. So the fact that it was up there with, you know, how to talk to people, how to influence people, what was it? How to talk to people, influence friends, how to get friends and influence. you know.
How to win friends.
For those who know, they know.
Yeah.
But how to win friends and influence people. There we go. All right. Got it. But you know, I love that. I love the other part that I was saying. Why would I give it as a gift? I think about my grandchildren. You know, all young. You know, some about to become teenagers, looking at colleges and things like that. You went to an HBCU. You know, like you said, you were in spaces with people that are probably in every form of industry. You know, had you known more about a process that would have allowed you to deepen those relationships. Who knows what influence it could have had to, catapult what it is that is truly your passion, and how you could have fueled somebody else. But one thing I do say, and I noticed about you, like, in the first couple of years we were companions, is that you really are still connected to many of your companions from college. And I think that is one of the greatest benefits of understanding how to build relationships, because they sustain the test of time. They take the test of time. So, and you even still, foster those relationships now. Here's how we got our brother, to come on, you know what I'm saying? Somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody, and I can remember, and I'll kind of just, let you jump back in here. But I remember someone saying, one of the elders saying before, show me who you hang with and I'll show you where you going. You know what I'm saying? Because you are who you hang with. Birds of a feather flock together. So if you hang with a bunch of people with low motivation, it's not very often that you're going to be highly motivated to do anything. And some people, though, let me just stay in circles like that, because it's fun to be the big fish in a small pond. But that show that you really not chasing whatever version of success it really is, because that's a very limiting frame of mind. And as you said, this is about humanity and never eating alone. So I am definitely adding that one to my list, and as a gift and as a personal book to add to the collection.
Yeah, yup. You on point with all of that. And going off the last thing that you mentioned about being the big fish, that doesn't lead to any growth, because you not having people to motivate you, you kind of stay where you're at instead of going to the next level. You become comfortable, you become complacent. And another thing that kind of stood out from this book, and that is something that I exercised even before I read the book, was not keeping score. And that goes into the reciprocity part, where keeping score means that you're keeping tabs of what you did for this person and what that person did for you. It's like, oh, I helped you 2 times, so now you gotta help me 2 times, and if you don't, I'm gonna feel a type of way,
That
so
part.
Yeah, that part. So that's definitely something that can hold people back. But don't get me wrong, there is a balance, because no, you're not supposed to keep score, but you also have to keep in mind that if we're talking about the proverbial table, right? And you getting invited to the table, and you keep getting invited to the table, but you're not bringing anything to the table, you're gonna stop getting invited at some point.
that
Yeah.
that
So
that
there's that also. And very true about my companions, my friends from college. I happen to foster those relationships, just organically, and we keep in touch. But just imagine if I had these tools, how many more relationships I would have been able to maintain. Not because we fell out or anything. We just stopped staying in contact. We didn't stay consistent, or like he says, ping constantly. Reach out to people to just to chat, just to check in, even if you don't need anything. Well, especially when you don't need anything. Like, you shouldn't be waiting until you need something to reach out to a person. to ask for a favor. You should just be checking in. And then when you do that, you can also make things efficient too, because it doesn't take a lot, is what I'm saying. It doesn't. You don't have to call somebody and be on the phone for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. It doesn't even take all of that. You could just call somebody and be on the phone for 5-10 minutes, and that will massage and foster that relationship, instead of not reaching out at all. It doesn't take a lot. It is work. It does take work. It does take consistency. Like I said, we get busy, so it does take consistency. It does take work, but it doesn't take a lot. It's not complicated. It's not complicated. So that's what I have to say for this book. Like Rue's going to get it for herself. She's going to get it she's going to have to get it as a gift for some folk. I have already recommended it to a few people when I first read it. Like I said, I'm due for a reread of it, and I've also forgot to mention that we also did a discussion on this book on another platform. So it's definitely one of those books where you want to reread it, you want to engage with it, you want to put it into practice, you want to share it. It's definitely one of those books that you'll go back and even use it as a reference book, actually. So yeah, you can read it from cover to cover, but you can say, what was that skill about how to work a room at a conference or at a event. And you go to that chapter, you go to that page, and find those tips there. So it's definitely one of those books. So with that being said, I'm going to give it back to Roo so she can discuss her offering, for this week.
What? Before we do, and thank you so much. I mean, like, I really, I get excited, and we've got some great feedback and compliments about the quality of books that we bring, and also the discussions that we have about these books. I would like to just add two more things that I really find intriguing about this book and how it makes me think about my own experience. And one is, like I said, I come from old school networking. So this is, recognizing that you have to go out and you have to meet people. So it's like the whole shaking hands and kissing babies kind of thing. And for anybody that knows me, I am lovingly monikered Mrs. Rogers because I'm known for baking cookies and things for the postman. I give little tips to the people at the pharmacy, it's people at the town hall meeting, I'll bring donuts. That is my thing. And I don't do it because I'm expecting somebody to say, oh, look at her doing all these things. I do it because I know, first of all, the way to most people's heart is through their tummy. So, me bringing them sweet treats make them remember me anyway. But also, I want them to remember I'm not always coming to these places looking for something. I come bringing something. Saying not only do I bring myself, which is the thing, praise the Lord. Not only do I bring myself, but I bring something to let you know, hey, listen, I like being in this space with you guys. And, we're talking business or whatever, but, have a sweet treat. Life is sweet, yeah. And so I think about that. But now moving forward, I think about when I first started using the internet, and this is being like my radical transparent self. And some people listening to this are recipients of some of what I'm about to say, and they are also people who did not I'm not going to say they didn't value what I was offering, but they ain't never had nothing like it before. So when I first started using Instagram, I didn't know a whole bunch about it or whatever. But I know you could post pictures up and stuff like that, and then people were like following you and all this stuff, and you follow people. So, I'm a good morning person, or should I say grand rising person. I am a grand rising person. So do you know I used to get up and I say, I do my meditations, and so I would include people in this meditation and then I would go through and I would leave a voice note. Peace and blessings, so and so. Hope you have a beautiful day. And I would do this for like 50 people a day, like no coercion. Some people never said nothing back. Some people never said thank you. I would leave, like I would see somebody's post that looked sad, and I am an empath, so you can tell when a post is personal. So I would see a person's post and I'd be like, oh, so and so is going through something. Let me leave this personal voice note. Not appreciated in any way. And I just think about how a book like this really could help people understand online. Some people are here to have real relationships. Everything here is not superficial, like just for likes. What I don't do for likes, not in that way, And so I just think about that and how that could have been a deterrent for me, because here I am pouring out I'm getting up an hour early to pour out these messages, and not one person said thank you or you have a good day too. And like you said, it's not about counting, I do for you, you do for me, but a thank you wouldn't have killed you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been doing this for you for a year, and never one time did you say, you know what, and you have a good day too. You know what I'm saying? Like, because at the end of the day, I don't really know you, but you followed me. You understand what I'm saying? You followed me and I followed you. So what is we doing that for?
Yeah.
Why are you following me if you ain't gonna never say nothing to me? Hello? Stop being a looky-loo. Yeah. But
especially when you're reaching out.
Listen, I tell you like this, one thing I know, I remember during the pandemic, couldn't nobody get nothing. I walked into the store and I had little girls like, we got some tissue for you. We got some soap for you. You know why? Because these are the little girls I made cupcakes for in the summertime, the 2 years before. These are the girls I say thank you to when they put my cart back for me. You understand what I'm saying? Building relationships is over time. You got to put work in. Yep, you got to put work in, and the work sometimes is nothing big. It be tiny. I love small gestures, like, playing my favorite song or buy me an ice cream. I'm there for that. Buying me a book.
Yeah, you'll love them forever.
Woo, child, you buy me a book, you better. But I really do see all the benefit in that book, Nick. And I'm just, I'm grateful to the person that recommended it to you, because I mean, I don't pay a lot of attention to like the bestseller list and all this stuff like that. I kind of buy books based on, whatever it is we're lecturing on or teaching or what have you. But that's a really good one. Never heard of it, never heard of the author. So I'm really excited to add that to the collection.
Yeah. And just the last thing I'll say on this book is that, especially for people that don't operate in those, I guess, type of professional and corporate type of fields, don't get caught up in all of the corporate talk and all of the the accolades. Just think about the skills and apply it to your situation, regardless if you're working in corporate or if you're working in the community, anything in between. Regardless of what your environment is, apply the skills to that environment. Because I know that was one of the criticisms that I saw when I was doing some research on this book, when I was preparing for the first book discussion that we were having. They were like, oh, it's all, elitist and this and that. And I'm like, don't get caught up in that part of it. Focus on the skills and how you can make it applicable to your situation.
Oh, totally. That's great advice. No, you know what? That's great advice. It goes along with, how you can take any book and glean something that you can apply to your life if you really looking, if you really look for. So that's great advice, not to get caught up in that side of it. That is amazing. I love it. I love it. And I just love how when we bring books, we never really discuss what we're going to bring. I think the only time we ever discussed what we were going to bring was like the first time. That was it. I think that was the first. That was it, because we just were trying to figure out a format. But I love how our books always tie together on some level. And my offering this week is called Playing the Matrix by Mike Dooley.
All right.
Okay, Playing the Matrix by Mike Dooley. I already love it because it got colorful charts. So I'm already there. You done stole me already.
But what's that saying? What's that saying? The subtitle is?
Yes, and the subtitle is A Program for Living Deliberately and Creating Consciously. Okay, and it ties right into what you were talking about on the level of creating a relationship with yourself and really getting to know yourself in order to be able to navigate and consciously create and deliberately create in this world that we are in the matrix itself. So this book it came out about 2017, I think the copyright was. I got this book because, as you know, at Mawulisatemple, for those of you who know what we do here, and for those of you who don't, we offer safe spaces, create safe spaces for people to come and really figure out who they are. Sometimes you just need space to figure out who you are, and you need a variety of things that that you may not have access to when you are off alone at home. And some of the retreats that we offer based on very specific topics. And most times those topics are about getting to know ourselves, get into a place where we are able to use our full selves to create the life that we want to see. And the reason why I picked this particular book is because we have so many people come through. I thought it was important for people to realize that everybody's journey is not going to look the same. And so because of that, when we offer things, we'll tell people, well, this course may not have worked for you, but this one may. And that is something that that Mike Dooley explains well in here, is that everybody's an individual. What will work for some people will not work for others. And I think that's really, really, really important for people, especially first starting out, to know, because when you realize that, what it does is it allows you to disconnect from an expectation of an experience to actually having the experience itself and really doing the work. And that's something that he does well in this. So I'm going to read to you a little bit about what's here on the book. Yes, I put my glasses on. And so I'll read from the back first. The rationale becomes so self-evident that readers will have a whole new and improved code to create by. And that was Alicia Goldstein, PhD, founder of A Course in Mindful Living. And so it goes on to say here, life is not something that happens to you. You happen to life. You came first. You're the reason the sun came up this morning. And even as you read these words, all of the elements are looking to you for direction, because we all are literally the eyes and the ears of God Almighty. Come alive in the dream of life, and your wish, therefore, is the entire universe's command. I love how people be like, the universe is conspiring to give you all that you want. That is what it's saying. That is what it's telling us. The universe is waiting for you to give it its marching orders, you know? And the diagram they have here at the bottom, it talks about the entire spectrum of reality containing all possible desires and end results. Remember, I was talking about being solution-based, going in and coming out with something that, like you said, is applicable to the right now, not the yesterday, not the tomorrow, but the right now. So it covers thoughts and emotions, ethereal and highest, best end results, dependent solely upon you, like only things that you'll be able to see the benefit of and not other people see the benefit of. It talks about happiness and what that is truly. It talks about the Fantastic Five, which is livelihood, abundance, health, relationships, and appearance. And then it talks about the things that we detach from, but we are still all involved in, is things like people, employers, customers, clients, how you have to be involved with these people, but in the reality that you create what that relationship is going to look like. In other words, you dictate what that relationship is going to look like by being the version of you that you want to be in that relationship. So in the front here, it says, in your hands is a master class for creating the life you want to live. Tried and true, delivered and perfected over a decade while being shared with tens of thousands of students in 132 cities, 34 countries, and upon 6 continents. Playing the Matrix, New Thought leader and New York Times best-selling author Mike Dooley brings to bear his advanced course on living deliberately and creating consciously. The concepts Mike shares in these pages make up his most impactful, most transformational program ever. For the first time, these complete ideas are at your fingertips in book form. At the heart of the Matrix lies a simple yet highly unexpected concept for creating major life change. Unlike anything shared by other teachers, past or present, it clearly reveals why manifesting sometimes works in incredible ease and why sometimes it does not work at all. Why on occasion it works on one hand and yet in hindsight you wish it hadn't. You'll only learn, not only will you learn about the Bermuda Triangle of manifesting that too often leads to heartbreak and loss, you'll discover how to navigate around it under full sail with aha moments as you come to understand how to achieve clarity and purpose and desire, how to avoid contradictions and self-sabotage, how to fuel your dreams with passion while not attaching to unimportant details and outcomes, how to plan and take action on your dreams without messing with the cursed house, and so much more. Playing the Matrix lays out the actual physical and metaphysical mechanics of manifestation, including your role in the equation and the reality of creation, so that you can deliberately orchestrate these changes you most want to see. Once you begin working with the universe, instead of unwillingly working against it, you will truly astound yourself. And so, yeah, you know, I think it's important that people recognize that in their common search, because we all search it, you know, trying to be this best version of ourselves. The frustration that goes into practicing or studying something and it doesn't seem to work, that could deter a person from wanting to further seek. And I think this book does a great job at that explains to you that even if this is not the approach for you, don't stop seeking, you know, because regardless of whether you seeking or not, it's happening. It's going on. This is going down. You know what I'm saying? Things are going down around you. And, you know, life didn't just happen to you. So I don't even know why I took off my glasses because I want to read this next part. You know, one of the other things that I think is important is that people don't go into this book with with preconceived outcomes. And that's one of the things he always talks about. He said, and basically it's like something they do with the Center of Courage and Renewal is lean into wonder. You know, instead of going and thinking, you know, just go in and see what it has to offer and just take it as it goes along. And thing that he does well here is that he outlines things and makes sure that you understand what it is he's talking about when he's talking about it. So the first chapter is understanding miracles. And so he makes sure to say to you, it's not the magic, it's the magician. Basically, on how to perform miracles and what miracles really are, and how how everybody's definition of a miracle is different. You know, much like everybody's version of success is different. The definition for success is different. And it teaches you that you are the observer and the actor. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, in how to perform your own miracles and realizing that every day, every moment of every day is an opportunity to experience a miracle. And this is why he talked about how hindsight, you know, is sometimes the thing. And when you think in hindsight, you be like, wow, I wish that never happened, you know, or, you know, something that you thought you wanted, but you didn't really want. And one of the things he says here is maybe the trick in getting miracles lies in understanding that you are already performing them. I thought that was something that if you kind of just sat with that for a little bit, it's like, I'm already performing miracles. How am I performing miracles? What am I determining miracles to be? So it is very thought-provoking, and that's something that I like about this. He talks about when a dream is not a dream. He talks about experiencing different epiphanies and realizing that when we have these aha moments, if we are truly continuing on the path, that won't be the only one. That's like, and it'll be so much more profound than the last one. You looking back like, well, I thought that was the one. Like, no, this is the one. But in actuality, the next one is really probably the one. So it gives you this excitement about going in deeper and learning more and more and more, not about the world, but about you as a world, you as the universe, you as the microcosm of the macrocosm. So I thought that was really, really really good to see here in this book. And he goes even deeper when he talks about the difference between waking and sleeping dreams, which I think is really important. Nick, we talk about mind movies all the time. You know, shout out to Dr. Joe and all the others that practice the mind movies, because you know how we get down. And realizing that thoughts become things. And you know, for many people, that's one of the hardest things to learn in trying to navigate the matrix, besides trying to understand what the matrix is itself. And he does go into a place where he explains what it is, you know, and how our thoughts become things, and how we have to be more fun and more happy to notice that they do. He says, you know, sometimes we can't recognize that the lower vibrating things that we think about become manifest because we think that it's happening to us. But when we want something good, like we like, oh, well, I hope this happens, and then it happens, you like, oh, I had this, you know, I thought about it and it happened, but you don't realize how when you thought about that negative thing, it happened too. So he said it's easier sometimes to start to recognize that our thoughts become things by realizing the things that we manifest when they actually do show themselves. Okay. So in moving forward, the other thing that was about miracles, what I like here too is that he, much like books that you know we do with transformational work, it asks questions. Anybody that knows me knows if you read in a book with me, you better have a notebook, because much like Nick, you know, them notes be going crazy. And let me just go back to saying one thing about your book, Nick, and influencing people and inspiring people. For those of you who don't know, I am a bibliophile. I love books. I love books. I am she of the books. He is he of the books. Do you hear me? The first time we ever had an in-person study session, I literally walked away and sat in my car and was like, oh, he about to make me step my game all the way up, because the notes this man had were meticulous. I mean, he had notes to go with his notes. I was like, what is this? I was like, what is this? I was like, his notes had notes on them. Like, he literally had one note, and then he had something highlighted in that note and a note pointing to that note. I was like, oh. I was like, oh. I was like, I thought I was the one. He is the one. Oh, but I just wanted to add that, because you are a great influence. And I saw that change and shift in myself, because I think what it started to happen was this information sometimes comes to me so easily, you know what I mean, that I don't push myself. But if you are around somebody that's like on that level, it's like, wait a minute, I thought I was doing the most. Somebody out there doing the most. But back to having a notebook, I would definitely suggest having a notebook with this one and going through this book, because what he does is he literally shows you, it's like a little step-by-step of how to play the matrix. So it asks you to choose a general end result, right? And then it says, get into the details, but don't attach them. That's kind of going back to this diagram he has here. And then he tells you how to take action without messing with the house. And that is a big thing that I believe, he points out here is that we get caught up in the, well, how is it going to happen? When is it? And we start to talk ourselves away from a solution. So that's why you have to be kind of a solution-based person and realize that, yeah, no matter what the hows are, we coming out of this successful. We coming out with the result that we want. And then it says, it takes you to a place where you look at how we micromanage one's life. And when we tend to do that, we tend to look at our failures and not our magic. Learning how to define our dreams themselves and whether they can come true. And that takes me to chapter 3, which for me personally was, I think, just one of the strongest chapters, and it's knowing what you really want. And I'm going to just really just kind of go in here, and this is where I kind of want to stop once I finish this point. So many times we base what we want on what we need in that moment, which is relevant. If you're hungry now, you're going to think about food now. You're not thinking about food 2 years from now. You're thinking about it for now. But many times when when someone asks us, well, where do you see yourself in 3 years? Like realistically, where do you see yourself next year? Where do you see yourself in 6 months? A person, even though they know their 25-year goal, I want to build legacy wealth and I want to do all these things. Okay, but what do you want now? What would serve you now? Where do you want to be now? Who do you want to surround yourself with now? Who's playing this game with you? Because that's the other part of how our books tie together. We're not doing this alone. Who's in this movie with you? Who is creating with you? Who are you deliberately creating with? And so in learning to play the matrix, one of the things that you do have to do is get clear about what it is you really want, because much like you said, you can think you wanted something until you get it and you realize that wasn't what you really wanted. You wanted something that maybe was attached to that thing, but that's why he talks about detaching from stuff. Is it the thing you want, or is it a result, an outcome that you want from the thing? You know what I'm saying? And it kind of goes back into that resources, using the resource and not person, because we have to detach from things like, it got very specific here. It talked about people and, career and work and possessions. Like, how do we detach from these things where they're not the thing that we're playing for? What we are seeking ultimately is joy, happiness at the end of this thing. You know what I mean? We are seeking that, and all the things we do are trying to get us to this place where we feel comfortable, where we feel like we've won the game. But the thing is, you are winning the game because you are creating the game. And if you're losing the game, it's because you are creating a losing game. And a lot of people won't, acknowledge that, because it means taking accountability for the places that you could have done something, but you didn't. You know what I mean? Where you could have taken action, but you didn't. And that's where I'm going to end up here. Chapter 5, taking action, learning how to apply one of the quotes here in the corner is, realize for every little step you take, you increase exponentially what the universe can do for you. Right? And I love this formula that he has now. Over here it says, therefore how only becomes cursed not for what you do, but for how you view what you did. Simply, if you are doing X to make your dreams come true, it is a cursed how. If you are doing X among other things to engage life's magic, create possibility, that have fun, you're gonna be manifesting a rock star. Notice that X is the same in both scenarios. The only difference is your rationale for doing it. In the latter instance, is a diversification. Diversification.
Yeah, there you go.
All along. It says you've reduced stress. You created more possibilities for success. You are positively navigating around the unknown and limited beliefs, and you have left room for something even better. So breaking that down is basically saying you want to do said thing. Don't make it a chore. Don't make it a task. Go in enjoying it as much as you can. And whatever your true end result, what is meant for it to be, will be. And even if it's not, it could be something greater, and you enjoy doing it while you were going along the way. You know, and I'm really big on that. It's like, it doesn't matter sometimes, you know, if you want to make, and I'm really going to make this about money because people love to talk about money. If I wanted to make $1 million, right? And they said to me, it's going to take, they said to me, it's going to take a year to make $1 million. No matter what you do any other kind of way, it's going to take a year. If I just sit around and wait for the year to end, and I could say, woo, I made $1 million, it's like I wasted 11 months, you know, 12 if you know, but I wasted 11 months doing nothing when I could have been having fun every day. Like, whoo, we're going to get this 11 million. We're going to get this $1 million at the end. And today I'm doing this towards that $1 million. And today I'm picking out floor plans. And today I'm looking at mosaic. Like, you can really spend your time, and it's not delusional. And again, that's why I bring it up in the month of Pisces, where, you know, illusions and disillusion and escapism happen, because of the simple fact, this is not about trying to lie to yourself. This is about being able to recognize that the mind is the builder. And if you can't see it for yourself, the universe can't provide it for you. The universe can only provide what you can show it that you want. Yeah, you know, you may get these things that seem like flukes, like, whoa, I was lucky. But were you? Or did the universe catch a vibe of what you really wanted? So, you know, I would tell people this book, Playing the Matrix, is like many of the other transformational books that we bring to the table. It's an opportunity to dig deeper into self, to get more clear about where it is you want to go, what it is you want to have, and how, in the version of yourself you want to be. You know, and what you're going to do in the meantime. Because the reality is some of us may never be millionaires, but that don't mean we can't have beautiful, exciting, and full lives. Because being a millionaire is not everybody's goal. Some of our goals is just living a long, healthy, laugh-filled, book-filled, you know, toy-filled life. You know what I'm saying? So, playing the Matrix, knowing what it is, knowing what miracles are, knowing that you are, and you are the miracle, you are creating miracles, you are in the position to create and live deliberately. And Mike Dooley does a wonderful job in this book of helping somebody to get a great foundation on which to start. And he does have several other books and CDs and all kind of things like that. So if you're not familiar with Mike Dooley, check him out, because definitely one of our great teachers on transformation and becoming the version of ourselves we want to be.
Beautiful, beautiful. You know what, Roo? I think by default, both of us, by default, we just gonna put every book that we bring to the to the offering. I think by default they're gonna go on our list. I feel like every episode we're gonna be like, oh, wait, I got to put that on my list. I got to put that on my list. I feel like we're gonna say that for every episode.
I feel like that too.
Unless it's something that unless we we try to do surprise me and you already got it. I feel like that would be the only exception that you won't say you gotta put it on your list. But I feel like we just gonna keep coming with the bangers.
Listen, it's wild because, like I said, I think the thing I love so much is that we don't plan it, but we bring books that complement each other so well, and they're books that each of us could afford to add to our collection. So,
right. Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
listen,
man.
And for our audience, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I forget that we nerd out so much that we actually have an audience watching us. So for our audience, I hope you guys are writing down all of these books. Maybe we'll get Nick to do an end of the year book review where we review all the books that we've done in a year, so we can make sure that you have them all on y'all list. But don't forget, you can recommend some books to us as well. And if you are an up and coming author, you have a book out that you want to bring to us, we are always excited to bring you on and talk about your book. You could recommend some books, and even publishing houses. We are interested in them. And Hay House did this one. And I'm gonna tell anybody, Hay House is one of my favorite publishing companies. And I say to people that they have a lot of transformational books, and I don't always agree with everything that is produced over there or put out from over there, but I will say that I've never found a book of theirs that I couldn't glean something from. Something, even if it's one sentence. So don't hesitate. If you are an author or a publisher and you like to come on and talk about a book, if you are someone just watching us and you are enjoying this content, besides liking, following, subscribing, and sharing, hey, tell us what you want to talk about. Tell us about one of your favorite books. We did have our brother Joseph tell us about his favorite book, and then even caught us off guard asking us our favorite. Like, you can ask two book nerds their favorite book. Never gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Because we got books for every genre. But did you have any things about the Playing the Matrix that you wanted to kind of touch on?
Oh yeah. And well, before I get into some of those bullet points, I'll say about our books always, being connected in some way. Like, even the books that I don't bring, and this is just the synchronicity that's happening. As you were talking, I thought of two books that I'm currently reading that connected to what you were, even if they were just like references. Like, one thing you said was about the universe, conspiring to give you what you desire. And I was literally just reading that. I don't think I read it last night, but maybe it was sometime last week. But I was literally just reading that in The Alchemist. Reading that right now. And then you were talking about let me see. What was the other point that you made. Let me see. I'm looking at my notes because I was writing it down. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, I should have put a note of that was I should have put a note of the book next to that bullet point. But
Mhm.
I'm also reading a book called Atomic Habits, and you said something. I just started that last night, by the way. You said something that related to that book too. So I'm like, wow, I just wish I remember what it was. But anyway, going back to playing the Matrix. One thing about playing the Matrix that I noticed is that one of the things that I noticed is that it's a book where you have to be accountable. You know, the concepts that Mike Dooley is talking about in there, it pretty much removes all victimhood and all victim consciousness by telling you that you need to take control and be the master, of your own destiny. So if you're a person that, you know, that's, like you said, talking about what happened to you, or, you know, losing the game when you created the game, this is not going to be the book for you. This is the book for people who take self accountability and and putting in putting into action. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, that's one of the things that I definitely noticed. And another thing that stood out to me was the intentionality, being intentional, and especially with your words, when you brought up the thoughts becoming things. That tells us that, we have to be intentional about our words, the the words that we're thinking and the words that we're speaking and writing. We have to be intentional, because the words are how we manifest things into reality. So when you get what you want versus getting what you don't want, that can lie in the intentions and the intentionality of the words that you chose and the thoughts that you chose, consciously and unconsciously. So that's very, very interesting, right there. And another connection, I read a devotional today, a biblically based devotional. I think it came from the book. I think it came from Ephesians. I don't have it in front of me. It's on the other side of the room there. But uh, dictating relationships. That was another one that stood out to me. Well, when you were talking about dictating relationships at the beginning of your review, it reminded me of this devotional, and this devotional dealt with removing pretenses. That was the scripture out of Ephesians that Paul was uh, teaching. He was teaching the importance of removing pretenses, and when you do that, that's how you dictate relationships and tailor your relationships to how you want them to go, because you're not wearing a mask in front of, for these people or these individuals that you have to work with. So by not lying to yourself and lying to other people about
Woo!
how how you really feel, that's how you dictate relationships, and you get those relationships to go how you want them to go. So that was another jewel right there from your offering, this weekend. And I love how you started out with talking about starting with the self, because it might be cliche, but it's very true that before you can think about building relationships with other people, you have to start with yourself. So before you Well, yeah, before you can really deep dive into, never eating alone, you have to deal with yourself internally, then bring others in. Because if you don't do that, you might end up sabotaging someone else, because you haven't done the proper work on yourself, you know. So let me see what else. Do I have anything else on here? Uh the aha moments that brings the mind constant elevation, so even if it's I think that's where the atomic habits came in. I think, yeah, because I couldn't remember what was the atomic habits connection. So atomic habits is dealing with that 1%, that 1% of growth, each day that you do, and and that connects to the aha moments because you're you're constantly building and constantly elevating, achieving a new level. That's really what it is. You're achieving a new level that you didn't achieve before. So that's why, it might feel like you reached the pinnacle or reached the peak because it's just a level that you haven't experienced before. So that was another a significant detail that you share from from playing the Matrix. I'll be interested in learning, and I know I'll have to read the book from this because this is just a preview, but I'll be interested to learn why manifesting works sometimes and doesn't work sometimes. So that'll be something that I'll be looking forward to when reading the book. We already talked about thoughts becoming things. Don't get into the hows and being solution based, and I think that's another connection to atomic habits because they emphasize in that book. And mind you, I'm only like in the introduction in the first chapter, but I'm seeing all these connections already, and it's talking about the importance of focusing on the system rather than the end goal.
Yes.
So yeah, the system or the process. So that relates to not getting caught up in the hows. What are you doing in the moment? That's going to help you to get to where you want to be. And I think the last thing that I'll mention is what you were talking about with getting clear about what you want and the detachment, because that kind of reminds me of consumerism in a way. When you buy something that you really don't need, but you think you want in the moment, and the best test that you can do to really see if it's something that you actually need or something that you actually really want is to wait and see if you still want it in X amount of days or X amount of weeks from that moment. So if even the next day comes around and you be like, oh, I don't want this anymore, then that probably tells you that you probably didn't and don't really want it or don't really need it, or if you let a month pass and you reflect on it and be like, do I still want this, want this item or want this experience, and you say no, then there might be possibility that you don't really need it or don't really want it. But that is definitely a awesome and dope offering, playing the Matrix. Like I said at the beginning, by default, that is going on the list.
Definitely, definitely. And you maybe that last part maybe say my mom buyer's remorse. That's what they call it when you get something and then the next day you be like, oh, I don't want this. It's like, oh, I
Yeah.
feel guilty. I feel guilty for having this thing. But you know what? It does actually apply because when you think about it from all aspects of self, and we do this a lot. You know, we sit and we philosophize. And that's why that event, if you have not heard, we having our first event in person in the fall. You better like, subscribe, share, follow, notifications, all the things. Hey, listen, you got to be in it to win it because it's by invite only. But anyway, you know, we sit around and we talk about how things can apply to different aspects of ourselves, right? When I think about the buyer's remorse part of it, think about when something really good happens to you. And this has happened to me recently. And anybody that really rock with me know, I am one of those people. If I experienced something, I'm gonna share it. You know what I mean? Even if it, you know, like I said, I will tell the truth, even if it's against my own self, just because it's about the growth for me. It's always about the growth. It's always about me seeing growth in myself. So I don't really care what people think. And, you know, I just don't. When something good happens to you, and this happened to me recently, something really good, something unexpected happened to me. Like I did something without attaching the hows or an outcome to it. I knew I wanted to do well, but I didn't really see how it was going to end. So at the end of it, I got all of this praise, all of these accolades. Like, I mean, I was in the point where after people got finished saying what they went, I went back to my room and I went back to my hotel scene. You know, I felt seen, like they really saw me and they appreciated what I brought to the table and they had no problem letting me know it. Do you know the next day I started having feelings like, well, I could have did this better. And maybe if I would have did this better. And it's almost like that same, like I just did what I said I wanted to do. And here I am taking away the joy of it by thinking I wasn't worthy of it. And that's what buyer's remorse does sometimes. You'll go out and get something you know you want, you deserve. And then because a part of you, a small part of you is not healed enough to know that, hey, I deserve this thing. I worked hard for this thing. You know, I manifested this. Those accolades and things like that, they came because I manifested myself doing what it is I love and getting paid for it. And that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? And people acknowledged it. So why am I now going to take away from my own joy by saying, well, maybe I could have did better? And you know, and these words are thoughts. But what I wanted to go back to is with the mind being the builder, this is why it's so important for us to constantly be working on our mind and mind control, because we have what they call intrusive thoughts. And most time people don't realize they let their intrusive thoughts be the thing to run them off away from the thing that they actually want. They'll be sitting there thinking about something quote unquote good, because that's a relative word, but they'll be thinking of an outcome they want, and an intrusive thought will come and be like, well, do you really deserve that? Do you really think you can you do it for real? Or do you have enough qualifications? So-and-so is smarter than you. They might get it if they apply to. Don't even do it. Don't even bother. Self-sabotage. Knock yourself out of the game before you even got into it. And that's why I think him explaining the steps, what the matrix is and how to recognize and deliberately, intentionally move through it. That's one of those things that you're going to have to constantly address, is the strengthening of your mind and knowing how to think and knowing what your thoughts are and knowing what intrusive ones are, knowing what societal pressures are. Society will tell you you're supposed to have a thing by a certain age and this is the standard by which you measure your success, and that's not for everyone. You have to know where you playing at in this game. You do have to be very intentional, and you have to be accountable. Like you said, lying to yourself and lying to others. Why? For what? For what? What is that gonna do? You know what I mean? And what it does is it actually weakens the chances of you getting what you want, because you're not being truthful. Your mouth saying one thing, but your mind saying something else. You lying. You know what I mean? So I don't know. This book here, what I'll say is that getting to really understand where he goes with the attached and the detached kind of things, what we should attach our two selves to and what we detach ourselves from in order to get our outcomes and the ultimate happiness that it is we are seeking. I think really working into that system and trying it over and over again is what, and or should I say, trying to better understand it as it applies to what it is you're doing in this work, will determine, if this book is for you. And it takes me to my last point. I want to bring up what you said about him talking about how sometimes things work and sometimes they don't. If you were to ask me, in my opinion, from all the books, the transformational books that I've read, is consistency. Consistency and compatibility. We have to realize everybody learns differently. Everybody learns differently, and everybody is at a different path, a different stage in their growth. Because you can have two people that's working on, let's just say, self-confidence, but one person may have done some healing work in self-confidence, and somebody may just be for the very first time looking at self-confidence. So of course the things that they get are going to be different, because of the simple fact they start, even though they both working on self-confidence, they starting at different places, and the consistency is going to be different. Is Jane going to do it every day and Deborah only does it once a week? Well, you're going to get different outcomes. But on the other hand, Deborah may only need it once a week and Jane may need it 5 times a week. It's like we really have to look at the individuality and learning how to transform our lives. This is why we don't eat alone, because people impress upon us different ways and different methods to go about having the outcome that we want. One of the things is self-sabotage and the not eating alone and the playing the matrix that go hand in hand is jealousy. Let's talk about that. A lot of times we can't manifest what we want because we're too envious and too jealous. We so busy worried about what the other person got, we ain't even think to ask, well, how'd you get it? You know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't think to ask, like, well, hey, how'd you do that? Can you show me? You know what I'm saying? And, we have people in this world who are never going to reveal their secrets. But you know what? For the most part, people are excited to tell you how they did things.
Well, you sent me that Instagram reel the other day too. That relates to that.
People are excited. People are excited to tell you, hey, listen, this is the hack. This is the way to go. This is what I tried. That's what, in my opinion, that's part of what this whole experience is about, is trying different things to figure out what works. You know what I mean? It's about, and sometimes it's a combination of things. Like, I may take a chart out of this book, something you've said out of that book, and something else you said, and tie it together and come up with a whole new mind movie that allows me to create consciously and deliberately an outcome that I want to see. Mm-hmm. So it's really about the consistency the self-determination, and the accountability. And I will say, even if you are a very responsible and disciplined person, it does not hurt to have somebody that you talk to about your accountability. They don't have to be the person holding you accountable, but just to be able to say to somebody, I set a goal for myself to do said thing, and I didn't quite meet my mark, or I overshot my mark. I got a better result than I thought I was going to get. Just verbalizing that and putting that out there to the universe with gratitude. Even when we miss the mark, sometimes we still give that gratitude, because a lot of times in that missing the mark, we find something else. Because the mark is just something to keep our eye on, to keep us moving forward. Mm-hmm. All the little things in between are the ahas and the wow, I never thought about it that way, and the hey, how are you? I would have never met somebody like you if I wouldn't have stepped outside the box. So I think that's what, your book again and my book in common let us know, is that we have to be willing to fully immerse ourselves in this experience, and use all of the resources, all the resources around us, to be able to deliberately create the world that we want. And happiness is fleeting, but joy is forever. You know what I mean? And one thing that these books do is they tap into my joy, but the happiness of it is what keeps bringing me back. You know what I mean? Just the excitement I get from finding a book, or from finding something new in a book that I've read over and over again, or actually knowing how to apply something when I go back in again. The first time I might not have done so well connecting with something. Second time I go in, I'll be like, oh, that's what that means. Let me try that. That's an aha.
Yeah.
We always expect these gigantic rainbow miracles. Sometimes the miracle is just being like, oh, wow, that's what that means.
Woo.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man. Yeah. The nerd is nerding right now. The nerd is nerding right now.
All the time. I would give it up,
Yes. So do you have any more we're going to share, or are we going to let these good people go? Because, we can keep it going forever and ever. Amen.
Oh, yeah. And that it's funny. I mean, I just two things, not even direct. Well, it's connected to the books, but it's, I'm just making these connections to other books, connections to the world, connections to self. I calls those the three type of connections. That's one of the methods and one of the teaching modalities that I use in my classroom is making text to self connections, text to text connections, and text to world connections. So another text to text connection from The Alchemist. You said everybody learns differently, and I just read that in The Alchemist too, with the little shepherd boy. That's what he said to the British bear. He said, everybody learns differently. and then you brought up mind building, and that reminded me of going back when I opened up with the numbers in the year 2024. 20 plus 24 equals 44, and that's mind building right there, and protecting your mental. This is more so as it relates to you being influenced by outside information, especially from the media, but mind building. but no, that's all. I don't have anything else. We can go ahead and let the people go. But this is another fun time, another mentally stimulating time, on UnRead.
Mentally stimulating, yes, absolutely. So come on, let's show these books. Let's show these books. Make sure Never Eat Alone and Playing the Matrix. Of course, we'll have all the information down underneath. Again, like us on YouTube. Go to our Instagram, follow us on Instagram, hit us up, let us know what's going on. What do you got going on? You know what I'm saying? I tell you like this, for all you people ditching us, we got something for you in the summertime, because we know you got some more time in the summertime. So we gonna really hit you hard. But for right now, we brought you Playing the Matrix and Never Eat Alone. That's one thing that Nick and I never do, is we never eat alone, because we always sharing these books with each other, sharing them with the world. He got a classroom full of students that he get to share with, and I go around sharing these places, these stories and topics in professional, and personal settings. So we are out here spreading the work, y'all. Y'all got to get out here and help us. Come on now, help yourself, because that's helping us. You're going to get excited about something. You're going to be on fire. And you know what? You're going to learn how to play this matrix, and you're not going to eat alone, because you're going to bring us all with you. With that being said, Nick, I thank you for always being an amazing co-host. I love that we created this space, because, this is definitely necessary. You know what I'm saying? And regardless of what we are doing, whether we see miracles big or small, we know that they are always happening, because look, it's a miracle we came together. We was in the same place, didn't even know it. It took us meeting on the World Wide Web instead of being right there in the same place years ago. And that's what makes it so funny. But again, thank you everyone for joining us. This is UnRead Book Review with Nick and Roo, a product of Mawulisatemple, beautiful upstate New York, Hudson Valley. We are coming to you again in 2 weeks, and we'll have some surprise books for you. So we are excited to do that. In the meantime, please hit us up in the DMs if you need to. Email us at mawulisatemple.com, gmail.com. And we are out of here. We are looking for any questions you have about these books. Please don't hesitate to send them later, and comment. Tell us how you like this segment, if it was anything that stood out to you. Until next time, this is Nick and Roo with the book review. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.